All right. So I emailed the minutes from that meeting, 8:13.
Yeah.
If you had a chance,
Okay.
my recommendation would be to vote, release the regular minutes and then approve the executive session minutes, but not to be released. I think those should stay executive for right now, since they involve personnel matter, and then maybe in a few years we can reevaluate that, but that would be my suggestion.
Okay.
So I guess I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, regular and executive, but the executive not to be released. Or I forget about this one. So we got, well, actually, we probably should just go over. Don't forget stuff. All right, so we got to do our budget. And I put a bunch of like the budget, the CapEx, and then I know, Tom, we briefly talked about that maintenance thing. Where's the budget sheet? I think for the budget itself, I just did this last night. I wasn't necessarily thinking we needed to do anything crazy. I would ask for another $500 for lifeguard wages. Just, I think it's worth to, if we can keep getting a little bit in that account. We do have the bump from the beach director. And maybe we'll find somebody. And then I put there's an increase in telephone. We haven't brought
Will
that
it stay
up in a while.
competitive or just $500?
Yeah, well,
Is
we
that-
were
is
20. We
that-
went up big. We
Is
went,
that on top of the regular
yeah,
percentage allowance?
we went from 16 to 20,000 last year, and that was the bonus to fund the beach director position.
Yeah.
And then I would continue adding a couple hundred each year.
Okay,
Usually what happens is when we start off the next year, we end up having to pay a week or two out of revolving because we're out of money, depending on how long the season is.
Mhm.
I think there's 6,000 in the account. So I think we're okay.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I don't think she can come back. Maybe it'll change, but I think it sounded like she had to go do like actual career stuff.
did she do a good job overall?
Yeah, she was good. I think it was hard because the position wasn't super well defined. And I think I need to do a better job of
Plus, it was,
delegating
plus
things.
it was your first year working in our system, right?
Yeah, it was her first year working with
So it's
Oz.
nice that we can get someone coming up through that actually knows how the beach operates.
Mm.
And I even noticed in the cardboard boat race,
Yeah,
you had to like keep on telling her, like, do this, get those people over here, like, and being in the first year, that's understandable, right? So it'd be nice if we get someone that's been through it, maybe, and work their way up to beach director.
yeah. I mean, like I definitely now knowing more, like I should have done a better job of saying, like, you're in charge of the schedule. Talk to her about scheduling. It's like don't even involve me.
Mhm.
So I think that would help. And that, that person should be able to handle that. I don't know who's returning it. It's an interesting thought if somebody's interested. I put that on here later. I realized I guess it's time to post jobs and all that again, which is crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
When you send it out there,
But
also with the message saying we have beach director position for returning lifeguard staff.
so that
They're, it's in their mind that they
Let me
could
find how I-
potentially be a beach director.
that's what we did. That was from Alan. That kind of came from the camp, but when we email all the returning people, we're more deliberate about saying like, hey, there are opportunities for advancement. If you're interested in being a rec director, let us know. So we should add, I'll add beach director.
Are you willing
Because
to
who
get?
knows?
I haven't decided.
Yeah.
I know, both my wife, I wouldn't,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I don't know if
I
anybody.
kind of want to know like what's going to happen with these buildings too.
Would be nice to see. I mean, it's like the same conversation.
If we have a building
Water
transition,
pressure
I
had.
would definitely run again. Like,
Yeah.
we need to build a building, transition to a new building. Like, I'm kind of like waiting for that to happen.
It'd be nice to close the door on some of these like ongoing projects and say, okay, like this is done. I don't know. But we'll see if anything goes anywhere. So yeah, the where's my mouse? Shoot. I put 300 in telephone, because that's gone up, and I also would like to see if we can get internet service at Grover Field for potential security cameras and for the sprinkler system,
Mhm.
because I think there's some new options with like 5G where we don't need to spend
Right.
a fortune for
Maybe
internet
stick
for
a
nothing.
box in the shed and
Right. The sanitary, the tight tank pumping is keep going up and up.
Mm.
I put more in fuel and then a couple $100 in supplies, equipment, building. Basically, the net budget increase. So last year we went up 11%. This year we're right now going up 1.79%. I was kind of under the mindset that around 2%, like we'd be stupid to not ask for at least 2% more and let them reject us. So I don't know if there's anything else. I mean,
Sean's pretty much done. I know it's different, but
yeah, so the Sean's
nothing
done.
else that we have to do it down at the beach, right?
We need to have Harshaw's got to come back and finish the paving. We didn't quite get to that, and then it got too late in the season.
Sean's landscaping is on, but
Yeah.
Sean, I think, is done unless we
Yeah.
do something new.
Sean the carpenter is still working on some stuff there. That's why I mentioned to you, there's could be nails and
Yeah.
wood
Yeah.
wood chunks and stuff like that flying around people's
Yeah.
bare feet. That's why I was concerned about doing the New Year's Day thing. Not that he's doing a lot, but still, there was some demo work. I had to rip some stuff out. Nails were flying and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I'd rather
You
see
think-
it could clean up in the spring and then next year.
There's a ton of work still. There's shit everywhere in those buildings. Like I got to put those tables together, and I'd like to once and for all clean out some of those rooms.
Yeah.
Because we've kind of just been shoving things in corners, and then when the summer happens, it just like has to go away. So I think we get it. That's a focus for sure, is clean up down there.
Do we need to get a dumpster there or anything?
No, I don't think it's that. It's just, and it might be something in the spring when we have some kids that are home from school to just say like, empty out this room entirely, and then we put back what needs to go.
Mhm.
Um,
But we could always use the park dumpster.
yeah, we don't have it's not like a lot of stuff. It's just it's not a lot of big stuff. It's just crap and things that need to be organized. And again, part of not having a permanent home.
Mhm.
We're playing Tetris with all our equipment every day. But I think, so we got to finish the paving. We have to install the bike racks. There's like concrete work. I think Sean, he did the siding. We have to paint it. That's no big deal. I think he fixed the windowsill. I don't remember if he finished. I think there was more trim on the bottom and concrete work that has to get done.
You did that. I think so.
Okay. He sent a bill for the stuff he did and for the work on the classroom. So that's closed out. And I'm sure there's tons more odds and ends. I think we need to get more wood chips for the playground again, like a big load. And it's probably easier to just have him come and spread them out again.
Yeah.
That storm certainly didn't help that.
Mm.
So I did check the beach for erosion. I know you sent the
Oh,
pictures.
yeah.
So there was still some spots, obviously considering the amount of rain, it wasn't too bad. There's still some areas that, I don't know, we could maybe just push some sand back as opposed to adding more sand, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's Sean could do that for us too, but to just buy, $500, $1,000, a truckload of sand every year and get back in the habit of doing that. I mean, that's peanuts.
yeah,
Like especially that corner is rough. And we just got to keep building it up. I think that other spot, once the grass is actual grass, I think that would have caught a lot of that.
Mhm.
But I mean, we don't need more sand to fix what's there. I don't think it's a terrible idea to just keep getting more. Even if it's just like a small 10
we just, I would just need like some touch ups here and
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Because you could see went over the wall in a couple spots.
Like
And washed it down. But again, I think just moving the sand we have as opposed to keep on adding.
I mean, it would be nice and to get some sort of machine that could go down there and like drag the beach every week or something,
Mhm.
Which unfortunately we don't have. I was looking, they make like sand cleaning machines. They're kind of interesting.
Mhm.
I bet they cost thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
For some weird specialized gizmo, but
Is that part of the lifeguard duties to rake the beach?
they rake. But I mean, to rake the entire beach like with it, like what you use in an infield.
Yeah.
It's I think a
Or
little bit
drag.
more. Especially like as soon as the spring starts, I think we need to start doing it. To stop things from growing. Maybe I can get different tires on that tractor mower that won't just because it just sinks in. But so anyway, that's what I had for the main budget for now. Like, I don't know if it's worth trying to add a little more to get us up to 2% or just leave it.
If you think we have enough for,
You know.
should we look at boosting the maintenance salaries or anything like that, or a little bit more?
Well, so that
So we can actually entice some workers to,
that gets into the next kind of thing I had put on the agenda of just kind of these different capital needs.
Mhm.
So to start with the maintenance, my suggestion with maintenance is I think we bring back the proposal to create this full-time position. So just to state for the meeting, so I don't think Brian's going to come back. I assume he's off into the real world. We got one kid that could return. I'm not sure he's 18.
Yeah.
So the just focusing on maintenance, the idea was to create a new full-time 40-hour-a-week grounds and maintenance foreman. And then we'd hire 2 seasonal workers. They'd work 19 and a half weeks at $20 an hour. That's 31,200, which is, we have 31,500.
and the maintenance foreman would also work for the highway department.
Yeah, so let me pull up the chart that, John and I had worked on this and tried to present it. And I kind of feel like we never really got formal feedback, but I think the commentary was that they wanted this to be considered as part of the annual budget. So the idea would be you'd have your superintendent of public works. Then underneath that, you'd have a highway foreman who would perhaps be the tree warden. And then you'd have your highway crew, your administrative staff, future water sewer department that's not happening anytime soon. And then the grounds maintenance person, grounds and facilities maintenance foreman that would technically work under the highway department.
Yeah.
And then the seasonal crew. But they'd be a year-round employee. They would plow. They would kind of be a coordinator of building maintenance, which is another, not a responsibility, but there's a list a mile long of, like none of these emergency lights work in this hallway. There's so many of these stalled out projects that just need somebody to sit there and pick up the phone and get pricing. And so I think that would be work that this person would work on. And what it would do is it would free me up. Because now instead of sitting on the lawnmower, I don't know if we specified that in one of these descriptions.
Yeah, you did.
But
it still doesn't say what you would do.
Somewhere I think
that was the gray area, I think, was you specified what this new position would do, but
I think we flagged it later on. Let me read the.
it was what would your responsibilities be, and how could you provide value to the town?
Yeah, well, I think as the director, I should be focusing more on programming, and we do nothing out of the summer season now.
What program?
Right. We don't do
Playing
any.
devil's advocate here.
No, yeah, we don't do any fall programming. We have no classes, no
What program?
no events.
And what would that bring revenue to the town? What value would that provide?
Well, I would argue that our responsibility is not to generate revenue at all for the town, but to provide, activities for the community. The pickleball, people are desperate. If we could organize leagues, you could do more than just put in a tennis court.
I think what we need going forward is a list of things that you would be doing. The maintenance and grounds director made sense. It's obvious we need someone in that position. People can picture that in the mind, what that person will be doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very concrete.
But if you're going to have a position like you're talking about, which is more administrative, then we need to be clearly defined what exactly you'll be doing, what value. Doesn't mean monetary value, but what value are you bringing to the town?
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of it.
And I kind of get it because we've been through all this and we understand it, but you need to explain to town folks about increasing the budget to pay for this position and rearrange these positions, and this is the value it brings.
Yeah, the total request, it was 10,000 for John's position, 65,000 for the foreman, 4,300 for the administrative support in the highway department, and then just under 16,000 to update my position. And some of that is related to water stuff. So direct to parks, you've got a 30-hour position. We'd be making it 35. So we'd have a few more extra hours.
This is the maintenance person.
No, my
Your
position.
position, yeah.
Because really it was 19 hours and then it was made 30 when we combined these maintenance roles. And I
Would
think,
you just be in union and non-union position?
I think that's not gonna, I would just leave it alone and leave it in the union, but that's gonna be up to the town whether they want that to be a contract or not.
Okay.
Personally, I don't see any reason to pull it from the union. I don't think it hurts anything, and unfortunately, based on how things operate around here, I don't think there's any harm in having some extra protections. Like you said, everything should be clearly defined, who's responsible for what, but when you have a contract, you're at the whim of whoever writes that contract. But that's something, so we'll have to sit down and figure out that in more detail.
Well, I think just coming up with a bullet list of things that you would be doing.
Yeah,
And you
I'm trying to think if we put that in
position.
here as much.
Would you be doing, bidding for the town? Would you be, what programming will you be establishing? How many programs?
Well, I think even just the existing we are
Facilities?
desperately struggling.
Who's doing the facilities? Let's just say we got
Yeah.
a senior center, and then we have.
Well, right, all
our center.
all
down
that.
there. Those are things that you need to, and we can help you with that, define what your position would be.
Yeah, I think I'd argue a lot of it is the same. It's still the director of Parks and Recreation. It's all the work that I'm just simply not doing.
We need to.
We don't have time for it.
Clearly define it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll be like, well, you're already doing that. I just think that's something to, not a sales job. It's to define what you do.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we do need to, I don't see any alternative in terms of maintenance. I mentioned this, it's probably worth trying to go out and solicit pricing. We already did it once and got back a number that was astronomical. Maybe if you could offload some of these remote properties, there might be a value, and then you could just hire some kids with, push mowers, but still somebody's gonna have to go check up on them.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
once you say kids, we're dealing with a really, really difficult situation in the daycare with younger employee. A whole different character today. Very different. Oh yeah. Well, every day she comes home and and what she had before COVID was older, like moms, things like that. Now she's had 3 or 4 within the last week. One to lunch today and said, I'm not coming back.
Yes.
This is like an 18, 19-year-old, and she's forced to pay him $17 an hour, because
Right.
so it's a different mindset and it's not a
Yes.
strong work ethic.
That's what I'm finding.
They don't come to work. They don't come to work. They don't see it appears, and I think it's a little bit of a kind of a global issue.
Yeah.
Because we travel a lot and we're seeing it pretty much wherever we go. We had recently on a trip, somebody apologized for the lack of help, like they were fine. People that work their butts off, but I think it's the younger employees really, really presenting a big, huge problem for the workforce or for the employer.
They think nothing of it, just taking a vacation day, a sick day, taking off, or just quitting.
Yeah,
It is what it
simple,
is.
simple. And so that having to, cover for that person for maybe even 2 weeks we rehire
Right.
would be huge for you,
Yeah.
who's gonna mow the lawns, and you're gonna hear about it, right?
Right. Well, we see it with maintenance where it's, nothing against the people we've had, but it's a bit of a different attitude that, well, you're just getting kids. It's their first job ever.
Yeah,
I know John had offered to help a little bit where he can, but he's run around like crazy too.
well, he's under heavy scrutiny. This
I'd
whole
love to.
Providence Road situation,
What a mess.
tough for him with the, trying to get this position, and then how do you manage that? It's unfortunate, very
Definitely.
unfortunate, but,
Thrown into the fire for sure.
oh, yeah, yeah.
But,
Well, look how silly it was with you with the lights at Founder's Park.
well, that stuff.
Well, that's what people complaining. She didn't really complain, but still, the townspeople kind of speak up and they'll go to a select board member and say,
yeah, why is this? look like
Yeah,
this?
yeah, and that's really a huge bonus that you even do that.
I mean, I'd fully admit, I think that the fields and facilities look like crap.
Yeah.
I think we're really struggling to do a percent of what should be done. And I
And
don't know.
that's why I think people will buy into a maintenance person,
Yeah, I agree.
full-time maintenance person.
I agree.
It's
That's the rest of it.
to do that though, we have to get you.
As
As you could be most helpful to the town, which I think AJ and I know, and you know
Right, but
what that is, but we have to sort of spell that out. And if you want to have another meeting just to go over that,
well, it'd probably be worth
Yeah, me too.
to sit down with, involve John
involve John.
and find out where he's at and what's changed now that he's been in the job. And
Right.
because I think
Do they have a timeline to try and, by town meeting?
Just because we gotta get. this-
my understanding
we gotta
is
get moving on this.
they have approved him and are in the process of signing a contract,
Oh, okay.
potentially only for like 1 year. I don't know the details.
That's what he was saying.
To be the highway surveyor. I think there's and I get it. I think they want to wait till this new administrator's in place before they make these
Yeah.
big changes and then,
Right.
oh, you're stuck with this thing that we decided.
Did they hire?
No, they've started the preliminary interviews. I think, so they had a screening committee.
The other guy's gone. He's done. Or is it still hanging on?
He's still here. He might, I don't know if they agreed to get him to stay on longer.
Oh, okay.
I thought he might be out at the end of the month, but I assume they've negotiated with him.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, he's been really great.
Yeah,
I like him, but I don't know. I think the goal is that screening committee interviews everybody and then recommends like 3 candidates to the select board. And I know they did some interviews, the screening committee, but that's all I know. But they're closed, so we don't know who applied. We don't know who they are. They're not even looking at names on resumes. They're just looking at the resumes themselves.
Oh.
Is what
do they have to have any kind of, record of a diversified, applicant group?
that I don't know. I mean, you're supposed to put all that whatever, and I think they try and reach out to whoever, I mean,
That's what we would, well, in the
I think-
day, it wasn't that long ago, but you didn't know who it was. So I
Yeah.
just by a name, I couldn't tell if that person was,
Why-
from.
yeah, I don't know. So they're working with the Collins Center. So I don't know if there's some method of like flagging resumes. I think Fickner's on the committee. He might know more about
Oh,
how they're
okay.
doing it. I just know that they were blind reviewing the resumes. So they didn't, if you were a townie or an outsider, they didn't know that. They just knew that here's your qualifications, here's your degree, here's your experience. Should we talk to you?
Oh,
And I think Collins Center was screening for the base compliance.
yeah,
But anyway, so that's the kind of the thing. So I have no idea. I get the impression that the select board is very reluctant to make decisions. So this stuff they keep kicking the can down the road. And I think that's what happened with this proposal we had made. But I think it's worth bringing up again, even if it gets rejected, like we've got to do something.
And if, again, if we do go in front of the boards again, AJ and I should present with you.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, you guys in the
Because
water
it's
as
the
well.
Commission coming
present it.
forward, not just the enviro looking to get a new job,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
But yeah, so that is kind of where that lies. But I think, in terms of more general, what do you call it, like articles for money, I think we should ask. So I think we would ask for propose the maintenance position again and the DPW update.
Are they still looking for a DPW director or not?
I have no idea. I think,
Because that plays into the whole thing. It's really hard to make any kind of major decision without.
they're looking to this new town administrator to make that decision, which is why I think they've decided to, but you have somebody here, they're doing the job.
Yeah.
What's the DPW director to come here and do that John isn't doing?
Right.
Other than cash and bigger paycheck, and that's the way I see it.
Mhm. And maybe that's something that would be easier, like you said, it's pretty well defined, that maintenance position, just to have, even if whoever, drives the highway surveyor, then it falls under him.
Yeah,
And we know that's kind of essential regardless, because we have probably the pretty good idea. This year actually is gonna be really tough with maintenance.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've gone back and forth with it, but I think it just makes more sense. They've got all the equipment. This person would have the same licenses as all the highway guys, so you could pull people from one to the other crew. There's way more, it just makes more sense than to have us have our own separate department that does the same work with, equipment in parallel. And maybe there's ways to streamline, maybe I still maintain some of the equipment, so it's not adding to that person's workload, or however that gets broken up. But it doesn't make any sense to us trying to go it on our own. So I don't know. But anyway, so there's that. Let me look at my notes. So we got the grant for the field lights, which I need to get you guys to sign the paperwork because I keep yelling at me from the state. But I think we should look at I know we talked before, the lights on the basketball court, and we may potentially need to go back in May to ask for additional CPA funds for those lights, which I'm thinking that should qualify. It's a one-time. It's not repair. It's not something that was funded with CPA. They were lights that were put up when the park was built. They've served their useful life, but I think at this point, I still cannot get these companies to respond with quotes just to swap out the poles.
Yeah.
But I think the poles are at the end of their life. We should at least get pricing on what it would take to redo them all in metal, so everything matches. Certainly the LED is the way to go, whatever you do. The park grant for the field lights, we can't start construction until July 1st anyway. So the next step would be to write out all the bid specs. So I think we'd write it up and just say, we want a proposal for this and then a proposal for the court. And then see if we can get some money. And basically the deal with the grant is $100,000. It's up to $100,000, which will far exceed. So
right.
It doesn't really change anything. We'll get all the money we can from the state.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's probably worth just doing it all at this point.
The softball and baseball want to add to that?
Yeah, so that's part of it. I don't know if I have the budget handy.
I was curious if that does that include the backfield grant and not grant? Yeah, grant and
no, that was a whole nother
just more
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
But same double the amount.
Hang on, let me find the budget that we submitted for the grant that kind of outlined. So the proposal for just the front lights was that the lights and poles were $100,000 for labor and installation, and then a $20,000 contingency. And then CPA is ultimately going to fund $96,000. Baseball, softball have committed so far $23,000 in donations and a $100,000 grant. So that's $220,000. And then whatever the basketball, we'd have to go back to the town, which I think we should try and get pricing and bring that in May. I mean, they have plenty of money.
Yeah.
I think it.
All right, we'll make that a priority then, because it's time.
Yeah, I can call some companies and get some numbers on that.
Just a rough idea what we gotta add.
But I
And keep in mind too, when you tell them we buy a property, Howard's already there. We already brought new feeds to all those.
right, those are easy.
Right.
The majority of the work is done. You just got to put in new, and they're precast bases if they're allowed to use them.
But as far as wiring goes, it's there.
Right, they just
We
put
already
the
ran
pole
all
in
the
and
feeds.
go up the pole. And we have all the stuff to go up the pole. Actually, the new poles, you go in the pole.
Right.
So we can return all that. So that's one. The other potential thing, and I've had a few conversations with Ann Mazar. There's been some talk about the Trask property and there's some complications with the current tenant, life estate, whatever. But it seems like that is a property that would be of significant interest for future recreation potential. So Ann floated the idea of getting some CPA funds to at least do a study and analyze the property and figure out what would fit there, what it would cost. I think the messaging was that it's time to look at new fields. I know there's the Paddock property. It sounds like they're now writing a grant to do some sort of expanded housing over there. So I'm not sure what that would leave for recreation use.
What about at where the senior center is now.
Well, that's an option too. The backland of the senior center is a disaster. I don't know if you could flatten that out. And then next door, they're also doing a housing project, so I think that will all get built out.
And then I was looking at
Right.
the Morrison Drive property. That's a good sized lot. It goes up and back quite a bit.
Yeah,
There's land there too.
well, there's like, when I pull up the map, behind Morrison, that's the paddock property that we bought.
Mm.
And I know that's where like Ellen is looking at the potential disc golf, although now they're actually going back to the drawing boards, and we have a firm that's gonna give us like an analysis of multiple properties
Hmm.
of what they recommend.
Is the house in the barn at the paddock property staying, or are they tearing that down?
No, so initially it's staying. That was the thought, is just renovate that house, turn it into an affordable duplex, sell it. The barn is just a garage, preserve it, and then lock up the backland. But now, so like here's this building right here is the Morrison shed.
Yeah.
There's like a big flat area right here. This is the paddock property, this big strip, and then that house and barn is like right here. You do have this wetland crossing, and it's super, super wet in this like area there. But that does have field potential. And I don't know what their proposal is for housing. I think it's in this area. I guess they applied for a grant to help with the design. That's all we know at this point.
It's been a surveyor, you've probably seen him.
Yeah,
Somebody's been out there surveying.
that may be part of this that
Yeah.
they're applying for. But I guess, I mean, that at this point, I don't know much. I just know that Anne basically is saying that they're committing to trying to fund some sort of a study to look at new fields. I mean, it seems to me the biggest need is just multi-purpose open fields for things like lacrosse, field hockey, football.
Mhm.
You know, I think they have their game fields, but there's just no practice fields. So that's that.
Been like that since 20 years ago. When we
Yeah.
were playing.
Mhm.
Our kids are playing, I should say.
And then I made a list of projects that we should fund, but I think, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe some of this ties in if we think any of these are worth asking the town to kick in. So the balance of the revolving account is 134,000. We're in really good shape. I tried to make a short list of some of our capital projects. Where's my notes? Oh, come on, I thought I.
But we have our list, our standing list, right?
Right,
Is that the one you're talking about?
yeah, so I copied some stuff over here that were more critical. So that the basketball court. Where's the thing on the courts? The basketball court needs work. We have two prices that are solid. One's 24,600, the other's 15,000. I believe the basketball organization has committed somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000 in donations. So, I mean, I think that's a no-brainer. We definitely need to spend the money now, or we'll spend more money later.
Do we have any specs written up for that? Like, what are we looking for?
I think not yet. All I asked them to do, so it's repair the cracks again, pull up the membrane that's starting to peel, do whatever they need to do to seal the cracks, and then repaint the surface.
Okay.
Is
there anything we do to prevent this from happening?
I think it's just, that's what happens every 10, 15 years. You've got, I mean, it was 2013 when we did them.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a lot more recent than that.
No.
Hmm.
It was like 2013, 2014.
I'm thinking of the tennis court, I think.
Yeah, because we did the basketball a little bit earlier.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if there's a way to flatten it out a little bit. There are some depressions. I think that.
Now, is there like something we could seal it with on a yearly basis to prevent the lifting and the cracking?
I don't know if we, just get in the habit of painting it every couple of years might help maintain it.
Yeah.
Like if did it expose the edges and they came up, or is that just the life of those patches? We'd have to talk to the contractor. At this point, I just got the basic pricing, but I think we should
But
definitely.
either way, we need to go through with this, right?
Well, I think we should commit to knocking this out in the spring.
Do we need to vote on that?
I think not yet. I think we should now go back to of the companies I got, it's this Premier Seal Coating, and just say, all right, can you give us a formal written proposal now that we have these estimates, we've gotten our pricing, and then we vote on the formal proposal.
Okay.
But I think if we reach out and get them to schedule, it'd be ideal to knock this out in the spring as soon as it warms up,
Mhm.
before basketball starts. And then the related one is the pickleball. So we have 24,900 from CPA. I finally have pricing. Unfortunately, the Clough Court needs a lot of work, more work than we thought. So the total cost, the cheapest price I could get for pickleball was $28,000. If we do both the Clough Court and the tennis courts,
Okay,
I'm kind of leaning toward, and then, with the tennis courts, if we just paint pickleball lines, it's 5,000. If we want to go and repaint the whole court and so everything matches, that's another 15,000. So that's up to us if we care. The border needs to be repaired. So you'd have a border strip that might look a slightly different shade of red. If we don't repaint the whole court.
Mhm.
The main court paint wise is okay. It's not like the basketball court because that has a full membrane over it. It would just be adding the pickleball lines. And then the Clough Court was 22,000 because it has a lot of cracks in it. Do you remember years ago, Chris Hadfield talked to us about the Clough Field Court?
Yep.
So somebody else reached out. The gentleman, Tom Seraph is his name. They live on the corner on Millville. I think he's involved with the baseball or softball program. So it's funny. He reached out about futsal, which I had never heard of. But then I was talking about the same thing that Chris proposed, and he actually found those goals that it's like a combination, like soccer net with a basketball hoop.
Yeah.
So maybe that is worth trying at Clough. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on the dimensions. I think Chris's thought was you'd have kind of like a outdoor hard surface soccer type court that would be usable for like little kids soccer for the schools. And I know the school is proposing a capital project, so maybe this is something to say, hey, CPA could fund it, but maybe you roll it into your project that you're doing. And we don't spend the money on pickleball. And then maybe we just spend a couple thousand and buy some portable nets for the gym indoors.
I think pickleball, why don't we focus at the town park? That's my opinion. Just get that done because people want it, they
Right.
need it, they want to play. There's leagues, there's
Yeah,
all sorts of stuff. So let's get that done. And if we're still undecided on Clough, we're looking more pickleball, futsal, or whatever. Leave that for a later time, or maybe we talk to the school about it.
Yeah. Are you still doing the basketball program, or have you? Because the other request I got was indoor pickleball. So maybe for Clough, all we do is spend $1,000 on a portable net that can be used indoors, and then we could say reserve the gym one night a week and say it's open, open session pickleball on Tuesday nights.
They do it in Hopedale every week.
That's
yeah, I think they're a Whitensville community. They're all over the
Do that,
place.
do it, Clough.
And everywhere.
I'll see why not.
But yeah, I think the same thing with pickleball. Let's follow up now. Now we've got the pricing and let's get a formal proposal and let's see if we can do it in the early spring.
But let's just
We get
focus
it
on
done.
the town park. I think.
Yeah.
That gives you something concrete, Dan, to say, as a rec director, you're gonna want to know what are you gonna do. You're running a pickleball. You know what I mean? You're adding
pickleball.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna, so then you're getting that whole, it's a demographic, right? That whole group of people that are they're voters, so they're gonna vote for the budget, but
You could even
Right.
running leagues and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. Before I forget,
By Shrewsbury, no, Northborough Town Park. They were on eight courts, 8 tennis courts, all full. Pickleball, mid-day, it's like,
Yeah.
retirees and stuff, right, all playing pickleball.
yeah, exactly.
So all of it, then I went back 2 hours later, they were all still there, probably different groups, but
Yeah.
just, it's huge.
so this is the project agreement for the field court lights. If we actually should probably take a formal vote to sign this so I can send it to the state. So basically, this just says that we comply with the.
But this has nothing to do with us trying to get our lights on our tennis court.
No, this is just the agreement for the park grant for the court lights.
Sure, sign it.
So I think I would make a motion to sign the park project agreement.
All in favor? Aye.
Just so before I forget. And then I think we all three of us left it signed, and then I'll date it. Right here, if you want to do, I don't know if I have a clipboard, sorry. There's two copies. I don't know what time you guys have to leave. If we gonna run out of time. Wasn't too much else other than some summer updates.
Oh, the Gagaball kit.
Yeah, the Eagle. But so there was more. So for the revolving account, so I think Grover Field, I think we need to put some money into. Not a lot, but I think I'm gonna ask Sean Clifton to get us a price to just go out and aerate and overseed. I think it's been a few years and it's getting a little rough, and it hasn't helped that the irrigation wasn't working.
Yeah, and
But
then
probably $5,000.
filling in low spots.
Yeah. So I think that's something we should just agree to do once we get a proposal.
YSA used to do it all the time. They used to get out of loads of stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't think they do it anymore.
That's one, and then up at the park itself. So I'll ask Sean Clifton just to get us a quote on that work. That would be a springtime at the park. I think we got to do another round of wood chips at the playground for sure. And then I think there's some miscellaneous work, same deal, like filling in some low spots. I'd love to fill in that stupid trench in Pizzella Field that has kind of come in from the drainage. And maybe that's work that Sean Bellin could do if he, since he seems to be able to just do that small tractor stuff. I think there's some of that stuff.
Is that the one they ran the water line? It was never.
It's
quite
that,
right.
yeah, it's where that, I think where their drainage is, whatever the field drainage, it's just settled over the years. But now there's a little bit of a dip.
Okay.
And in veterans, there's a few holes in the back. But I think those probably should get closed out. I know we keep talking about it as an Eagle project, but the shed for the rec program, it might just be worth paying and buying a shed and having them come build it and call it a day. The highway was gonna do some work on the lot by the tennis courts. I don't know. I think they just don't have the time for it. It was potentially using road grindings with some gravel and just filling it all in. I think we should just get a quote from somebody and get it done. Maybe they can supply the material and save us some money, but I think I'll ask them again, but
Yeah, that lot's in really rough shape.
I think they just don't have the time. And then the beach septic and bathrooms, we kind of stepped back from. We had got a quote for 8,000 for the septic design, survey and septic design and design, or what do you call it? Oh, perk testing. At the time we had kind of stepped back because it was a lot of money. That's something I don't know if it's worth going to the town and asking if, we could get some or all of it. I mean, I think they do have quite a bit of money of free cash.
CPA.
I don't know. Well, CPA is a little iffy because it's more for a building than a facility. But if you just go to the town and say, we'd like, $4,000 towards a septic design. I mean, ultimately, if we rebuild those bathrooms, I assume could be what, 50,000, 100,000. That could be a big project, depending on how involved it is. And I don't know, was it you I was talking? I wonder if you could maybe just redesign them without changing the physical building. Could you gut them and put individual stalls in the existing bathrooms? Maybe that's a cheaper alternative. I had very briefly spoke with a neighbor who's an architect.
Once you start moving fixtures around and stuff,
Yeah.
it'll be ADA.
Right. Well, no, the beach house bathroom is ADA. Those don't have to do anything up to those. Yeah, those are just the extras.
Yeah.
Or you just rip that all up and start over. I mean, I'd love to have just individual rooms because they're used as changing as much as bathrooms.
Right. Well, I mean, you do have some room in there because no one uses the showers in there. In fact, there shouldn't even be showers.
Right. Could you
use the outdoor shower?
I mean, could you make 2 gender neutral bathrooms with two toilet stalls? Well, I know you can if they're multi-user. That's probably not great, but you could put 2 toilet stalls in the back at least. I don't know what the design is. I don't know if you know anybody that has interior architectural.
Let me take another look at it. I really haven't spent
Yeah.
time looking at it. I can bring, I have some plumber friends I can bring over just to say, hey, you can do this, you can't do that. Just to get an idea, you know?
I mean, they go into the tight tank. So you'd have to just open that up.
And from what I recall, though, that building structure
It's like a
itself
block.
is fairly, it's fine.
There's nothing wrong with it. I mean,
It's structurally okay. It's
You could-
just, those bathrooms are rough, man.
people don't like it, and I like, maybe I'm just dude, so I don't care. That, but they're kind of dingy, and so cosmetically, if you cleaned it up, I think,
If you feel like you're in the 1950s, you know,
yeah.
and Fenway Park bathrooms.
So is it worth trying to ask the town for? I mean, I don't even know what a design, or just kick in towards this a little bit and see what happens, or do we want to just hold off and
Maybe we should just go over there sometime and just meet and just say.
Well, no, I'm just for money separately for the septic.
We need to know what we want before we have some money.
That's true.
And if it revolves moving toilets, then you gotta pay a plumber, and then
Yeah,
if you do that, then you might want to look at, okay, let's upgrade this and let's fix that while we're here.
that work we could fund. It's the septic that concerns me, because 8,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I know I haven't heard back from softball. I think some people have aged out whether they're still interested in pursuing upgrading their thing with a sink. Because I think this would be a tight tank, which could be a future pump chamber for the beach. I mean, it would ultimately pay for itself. We're spending a fortune on this tight tank.
Whatever softball does, they should just put a tight tank in, just like baseball.
Well, it has to be, I don't know if it's the same 8,000, but you have to have it engineered and designed. It's thousands and thousands, which I think,
That's fine, they can do that.
right. The only question is if it's worth us getting involved, because if we could get the beach off a tight tank, it would save us.
No, I'm talking two separate things. Softball, they can put a tight
Yeah,
tank.
no, and we should do, they need, that's the only place you can put a septic field at our facility. So we wouldn't want them to do their thing and lock us out of what we, like, it has to be all done together.
They can put a
engineered.
tight tank right up next to their snack shack. Tight tanks, unless there's ledge there. or
Yeah,
something.
but we could use the same tight tank as part of our system. That was the idea here, is you put the tank in now. And I think they had agreed to contribute towards that. But then you connect the beach to it, and then that tank becomes the septic tank for the beach.
Mhm.
So we're reusing, and then just put in a leaching field ultimately up there. But maybe, I don't know, maybe we should ask them if they could give us a number that they're willing to commit to.
So why don't we just get a perk test done up there?
I'll find out if, I know we talked before and we never did anything with it. If, like, could we just do a perk test without all the engineering and design
Mhm.
and find out? Because that area is super wet.
Right.
That's the other concern.
So, I mean,
And if
No
you can't put a
sense in
septic
that.
there, we're screwed.
if you do a septic, it would have to be like 10 feet high.
Right, which maybe it's undone. Sorry.
And then we don't know where all the neighborhood wells are. You have to be 150 feet away.
Yeah, I don't know if it matters with the property lines. It's our wells, our own wells, I think the big issue. Do we have to be away from the neighbors' wells too?
Yes.
I'll double check. We're probably able to be close to that. Because we have to be 400 feet away from our own well, which is insane. But that basically cuts off the
I
whole
think you gotta be
field.
150 from private wells.
Yeah, that's good.
But we'll have to check on that. So that, I think, was the major stuff. And then the other one, which, is at some point if we want to try and purchase some sort of a tractor or machine, but whether that should wait till we have more concrete
I think we need a house.
on a facility first.
Yeah, we need a house.
And and the other one I didn't put on here, I know we talked a lot about the parking lot. I think I'm still trying to get answers about the Route 16 project to better understand if we have access to the millings.
That Hatch company never get back to me. Remember they said they were gonna.
Yeah,
Never.
because if we could get all the millings from the road, that would be a big advantage.
Mhm.
And I know that day we talked about closing in the entrance and making it more of a proper.
Do they have a plan yet?
There are plans. I sent it was about a month or two ago. I sent an email asking for an update, and I never really heard back. I'll bug David again, the administrator. I think he's just been busy. I don't know if we've formally got, I think they have their plans. I'm not sure when the work actually starts. It's probably several years out still. Because
I heard 2025.
there's just so much water and runoff up there that it's just gonna keep washing out the gravel. There's nothing you can do
Yeah.
about it. But so that is that stuff.
How about the?
And then the Eagle projects. So I met with Connor. And I hadn't even thought of the drainage issue. So that in terms of potentially using that court area. I just don't know. I know softball had an interest in some sort of a pitching area. I have not heard, that was a while ago. I haven't heard any more from that. And I talked to Alan and Jen with the camp. And I think ultimately we'd like two pits, a full-size one and a small one. But I also, we don't want to overwhelm the kid if that's too much. And I
So
don't,
you know where we had the volleyball?
I'll pull the map.
I'm proposing that we put the full-size one there. It's big enough. I was looking at dimensions of Gagabon pits. You can make it whatever size you want, but that would contain a full-size Gaga pit. And it also already has the sand in the base, the drainage, all that stuff. So there wouldn't be a lot of material that has to be brought in. You just have to build the sides for it and you're good to go.
Well, I think we want at least one of them to be regulation, which I think is 26.
Yeah, which would that would handle it.
I'm just trying to get on the Google map to well, that was 30 by 60.
60, yes.
So I mean, if you could do, and then what's the mini one? Do you think you could fit a second one that's 15 by 18 in that same area?
How long is the big one?
It is, I think it's 26 by 26 square, even though they're like hexagonal. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a map in a second, better satellite view. Come on, where are the maps? Yeah, the official size is 26 by 26. And then there's like a junior size and a mini size. Because I think that the idea is so we have groups of 30 kids with the camp.
Yeah.
The official size technically can do 28 kids. But sometimes we have real little kids. So the thought was maybe you'd have a smaller one.
You can fit 2 more, yeah, that's the case.
Here, is this gonna work? Where's the thing? Oh wow, that's an old satellite image. Or the court's just horribly overgrown.
There it is.
So that's you can it's a 30 by 60.
Yeah.
I mean, it is pretty wet. I know Eric did a ton of work here. I don't know if it's horrible to, I kind of feel bad that this project kind of fell apart, but it wasn't necessarily built to spec.
It wasn't built big enough.
Didn't seem to have the interest. And we are repurposing a lot of the work that was done.
I would say you still have a nice court, you have a nice base there. There's landscape timbers all around it. I would highly recommend that we move forward and put 2 courts there, a full size and a small one. And then the Eagle Scouts' job is really to grade it all out, get rid of the weeds, put up the boards, and be easier for him, easier for us, less the materials, less site, things like that. And we're using that area that way you want it anyway.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we don't use that area, softball's just gonna next it.
Well, so they still, I mean, there's a hill here.
Yeah.
They've got their batting cage back here.
Yeah.
There is more space in this vicinity to do more stuff.
They can easily put pitching areas in. It's only a 45-foot mound, right? Distance between home plate or 40 foot, 40 feet. between home
When this-
plate and the mound.
There's space back here, like in this.
Some space over there. There's plenty of.
I mean, I don't know if they're still, we should ask them if they were still gonna turn this field and put a fence up, because that was an interesting idea that, would be nice to do more. That field looks good in this one. So I can send that back to him and then we can ask him. I think he probably needs to put together a budget and then come back and talk to us, because I think we should certainly contribute something. As we've done in the past. And then there's another another parent that reached out looking for another project. If we've got any more ideas, I told her that we needed to kind of regroup. I believe they're interested in some sort of like a brick patio out back here. And potentially even a
We still
pergola.
have 4 or 5 other ones at the beach if you want.
Yeah, so I don't know if we want to just re-up the list. That was my thought.
So
So-
at the beach, we still have the telephone pole guardrails.
So is it the park guardrails,
We need to redo the shrubbery at the,
the camp shed, right?
at the camp building, yeah.
Redo,
I would include that together, I think, the telephone poles.
yeah.
And
Oh, and
the shrubbery and beautify that camp building.
Mm.
Cause it's all overgrown. So just put it like one package deal,
all right, yeah, it's like landscape the classroom, if you will.
right? Landscape and guardrails.
So yeah, guardrails.
And then we have landscape and benches at the town beach.
Well, the beach, we did all, I mean, we bought all the furniture and stuff, so that's,
Oh, these are those granite ones and landscape.
oh, yeah, those benches.
Landscaping that hill.
Right.
And I think I would include shrubs and stuff there too. Like that's another beautiful.
Plantings. Well, yeah, there's some, I mean, you could really tie it all together, that, finish up that ramp, cut all that stuff down, you know, if they dump off a load of wood chips, they could spread them all out.
Yeah.
You
don't want to make it too big, but it's certainly a sizable project. So either I would say the parks building and
The
that,
beach.
in that area, or the beach area, landscaping and shrubs.
Yeah, I don't know, and then the only other idea I had is trying to do more up by the pavilion and the playground area, and that was the only reason I was thinking the Gaga ball could go up there too. Is if we ever did more like tetherball or anything in the future up in that area. So I don't know what else can go up there in the future. Something to think about.
Mhm.
Not sure what else is out there. Trying to think of anything else.
Oh, the other one's a shed at the camp area.
The shed.
We're looking at like a 10 by 12, something.
Something in that neighborhood. Basically get all the toys and all the outdoor stuff.
Right.
Out of the classroom, so the classroom is indoor space. To clear out more room in there.
Mhm.
The other, I hadn't, we took that swing set down from the beach, and then the thought was that could get reassembled like at Grover Field. I don't know if that's like an Eagle project to, you pour new footings and put the thing back together. Or maybe have them, potentially fundraise for a new swing set or something. That could be. What do we pay for just the beach swing set? I think it was a lot. Be like, well, how much was the playground for the beach?
26,000.
Yeah, so
Maybe the swings weren't that bad.
whatever.
Could be a potential.
Because now you're getting into landscaping
I don't know if that
and other stuff over there.
35. So it'd be like 4,000 or 5,000 for a swing set. But I don't know, like if that's. I never know what's a good Eagle project. I think they actually have to build something. I mean, I suppose that it's like a community build, but it's not that much work.
Yeah, put that in the pot if you want. And you said a patio over here.
Yeah, that was the other thing that
That'd be a much bigger project.
came from HR to do a small. So we got money, insurance grant money to do like outdoor seating. But now that you put like a small brick area to put it on top of. So that one doesn't really involve us as much. Some historic related items.
That's enough. I mean, as far as what we need to get done.
We're in pretty good shape now. All right, well, I can follow up with her and see what she says. If they want to meet, I'll let
I'd
you
be
know.
happy to meet with them, just like I have with the
If
others.
it's somehow, you've become the Eagle Scout coordinator now,
Mhm.
apparently.
Well, Joe Hood lives in my neighborhood, so he just sends in my way.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I like doing it.
I mean, I think there's a bunch of them coming, and I had a conversation with a parent at Rock the Block. There's Girl Scouts too. They have to do the gold project, and she thought there was 3 or 4 of them that would be coming, potentially looking for stuff.
Okay.
So we'll just have to keep thinking of projects. I don't know if any more.
And Girl Scout and the Boy Scout team up. Okay. Is that allowed?
Well, there's because the girls can be in the Boy Scouts now too. So I don't know if any of them are up at that age yet. They've kind of restructured. So I assume at some point we potentially would have a girl looking to do an Eagle Scout project.
Mhm.
All right. Let's see, the annual report I will have to put together and send out. I will work on that. That's going to be a production, the lights, the fields. For the summer programming, so I'll send out the notice to all the returning people to see who's coming back. And then I think we just post the jobs. I'm thinking as far as maintenance goes, it's worth just posting the same thing we always post and see who we get. And if we don't hire them, we don't hire them, but
Right.
at least just put the word out. And I did change it. I just want to look at the page to double check. I put whatever you had sent. We called it landscape maintenance. Lifeguards, beach director, kids and us. Landscape maintenance crew. I guess I'll post the landscape maintenance crew lead as well. I mean, there's no reason not to.
Well, should we also look at bumping that up a little bit? I know it runs at 2%. You were saying, get it up just under 2%, like 1.95 or something, and boost up those maintenance.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to ask for more money in that
Because
line too.
even in your other model, you still need some seasonal help.
Yeah, let me
And
hang
be
on.
able to Get that seasonal help, right?
Well, let me put another 500 just because why not? I mean, I don't, if we do that, that gets us to 2.64% and just do another 500 in this line as well. And then we've got a little more room.
Okay.
That at least gets us. I mean, that's kind of what we had budgeted in order to have. Let me see if I have my maintenance budget sheet on this one. If we went back to the old model, where's my test? If you had 3 employees, big names. Anything on
Right.
public record and confuse anybody. So if you did like 19. So if you had your foreman makes $19 an hour, your 2 crew members make 16 an hour, they all work 40 hours. Our budget is 32,000. We have a $3,000 surplus. So I think that, we potentially even could hire, if we did again, hired a 4th kid to work a couple days a week. We got room for that. So I think that's a good idea to, continue this because we really have no idea what to expect.
Right.
I mean, who knows? Maybe somebody will come out of the woodwork that buys us a few more years. I still think it's a very difficult model, but
Oh, it is.
maybe there's another Tyler out there. I wish we could recruit him for this full-time position. I'll reach out if we ever do it, but my guess is it won't match what he's making. I think the last I heard he was working for Amoresco.
What's he doing?
He was maintaining their solar fields, like going around, and he had a truck and everything, like cutting the grass and cleaning up around all the panels. That was a few years ago now, so I don't know if that's changed. I think he really liked the outdoor stuff. But yeah, so that's that. I need to sit down with Alan and Jen and confirm all the dates. And a timeline for the programming and all that and pricing. I mean, I think we would just stick to pretty much the same model. I think I mentioned this to you in passing.
So as far as all these other changes go, the town is waiting to hire a town manager, and then after that, they'll decide whether they want a highway surveyor or a DPW director. And then after that, so there's.
I honestly don't know, and I think that's
And then
something
we
to.
get into positions like you're proposing. So it's like we're like second or third down on that food chain.
I mean, I'd be shocked if we have a new administrator by March at this point. I think it's going to take a while, but I don't, there's hiring this maintenance position just is not like, I think you're going to go that route anyway.
That's not the issue. It's I keep saying.
No, I'm just
other.
in terms
What do
of
we do
it's-
with now? What do we do with Dan Byer?
right, the higher level stuff.
Yeah.
you know, and whether a new administrator has their own ideas of that position or whether we need to change something. I mean, and that's part of it too, you know, personally. You can't turn around and hire somebody to do my job and more money than me.
Till next year, because
Right.
all the new people are gonna have to figure things out, right? Figure who
That's-
does what.
That's true.
You get a town administrator and it's really, that's doing their job. They're supposed to look into that and see how the town is managing what they have already, right?
Yeah, the other change too, wouldn't there be a new chair of the Board of Select Board?
Probably, yeah, because I
Mike
think,
seems pretty
right,
pretty clear what he you know, how he takes control, so the new one could have a little bit of a different
Yeah.
agenda, so.
I mean, my, you
I
know,
think you're right.
that's been some of my frustration here is we have a town administrator. They don't have any power. They're advisory. The select board has the power. So it doesn't matter who your administrator is. It's a select board that sets policy and makes the decisions.
Mhm.
So this, you know, I understand you want perspective and input, but the idea that they just put everything on hold because they don't, you know, in that
No,
case, we
I-
should
I
make a town
understand.
manager.
I understand what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I get it, like, but, so I'm just trying to reset my calendar in my own head and our calendar. I should
Right.
say, that, you know, we were thinking that this could happen this year, but I really don't see it happening major till next year.
Yeah.
Because they get John in probably a 1-year contract.
Right, that's a big
They
factor.
get,
That's a big factor.
you know, and just from that meeting where you guys presented, I felt like a couple of, at least 2, maybe 3 of the select board were saying, we have a plan, we're gonna stick to it. Like, they were adamant that they were gonna follow that, either the chain of command or the plan that was sort of set out there by the
Yeah.
Collins Commission, or
Yeah.
that was the way I was reading the room anyway.
Yeah.
That I feel like even if they go through that and don't make major changes, I just think they want to go through it, you know, and we go through the process.
Hmm.
That's just. Oh, it's a really excellent point.
And I'm pretty good at reading the room.
Yeah.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. They are going to let town administrators all settle in.
And it's nothing personal, it's nothing against
No, right.
fire department or highway or anything. They think they want to see it all played through. And
Yeah.
if they end up with the same result, so be it.
Right.
They're okay with that too.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, that's that. I'm gonna go out and look at some new or different software for the rec program. So the payment processor they were using ended and they wanted us to sign on with a new one.
Mhm.
It was at, you know, over the fall. So we said, well, let's hold off and just take a chance to go out. It's been like 5 years. Let's see what's out there. Because we're finding limitations with like attendance. There's still a lot of stuff we're doing manually that it'd be nice to roll in. I don't necessarily, I think it would end up costing the same. So it's not gonna be some,
Is this financial or just scheduling?
there's multiple things. So we have an app we're using for employee time clock and scheduling. Their pricing is going up. And I was gonna look a little bit, but to be honest, it works so well. The camp makes plenty of money. I think it's well worth spending $300 a month for 3 months for something that we know works. It's great.
As long as you get something good, otherwise I would just suggest QuickBooks.
Yeah, no, this is like registration software is the big one. So like where you sign up for camp. So what we're finding, like the field use is a mess. I want to be able to just send somebody an invoice, which we can't do. The camp, there's a lot, like the attendance we're still doing manually. You know, I'd love to have a barcode or just check people in and have all the authorized pickup, you know, the world we live in
As long as
now.
the system isn't like more work than you're getting out of it. Some
No,
of the
no,
systems you have
no.
to build a database, which takes years. And then you use it for a few years and
Right.
realize I'm spending all my time just maintaining the
Well,
system.
that's kind of what's happened with Civic Rec. You know, when it started, it was great for us. It did a lot. You know, the POS, the cash register, the shack is great. The base level stuff is great, but now we're finding all the bugs, like the funky things with registration. The groups thing has been great, where we now have 3 groups. And we've really kind of, at this point, they're pretty much by age. But because you register, everybody registers for 1 week at a time, you could get all 6-year-olds and be totally like, it screws up your group. So are there ways to have it limit per group, or you register for a certain group? And unfortunately with Rec 1, that becomes a huge rat's nest. So I think what I'm actually looking at is some programs that are more specific towards childcare or rec programming day, camps, because that seems to be the focus of where we need the software. All the other little stuff we do, it's so little, it's not as big of a
Is there
deal.
any way to separate the registrations and planning and scheduling from your finances?
Yeah, so the finances is through the town. We don't have, that's
I mean, can we do
software,
like
but
a square with a,
well, right, that's part of it. So the new, you have a payment processor, so whoever that is, I mean, same thing at the
can you
beach.
talk on?
We should be able to
talk
take
on,
Apple Pay.
yeah, billing
Exactly.
like baseball or something like
Mhm.
that. We don't have anything like that now.
So with Rec One, that's what we would use, but it's not, I can't just send you an invoice. You have to have an account. I have to go to your account. I have to post a balance, and then you can't log in because you signed up under the baseball.com, and it's just stupid. And it's just not meeting our needs is what I'm finding.
Mhm.
So I'm at least gonna go and see what's out there.
Yeah, I find a lot of those systems are
Um,
okay.
It was a startup.
I've
They were
gotten
really
burned.
responsive.
I've gotten burned so many times over the years.
Um,
It's something I thought would be great. Ended up just being a nightmare for maintenance and learning and teaching people and training and when it was more work for people I was dealing with. So,
Yeah. And I know like Jody had mentioned too, I think the town, there's potentially interest in a town-wide system to take credit cards that's a little more functional.
Mhm.
But I think we're really one of the prime users of this stuff. And it would be great, the more people that pay with plastic, the better. We don't want the cash. It's a pain in the butt. It's a liability.
Mhm.
So anything, that moves us, like people ask about Apple Pay now, that's the big one, especially if you go to the beach.
Actually just
Yeah, pretty much.
got it on my phone.
I've never tried it.
I never had it before.
Supposedly my watch can do it.
Yeah.
I've never messed with it, but anyway, so we'll see what's out there. And then I think the only other thing that I put facility use. I don't have anything yet. I did just get an email from soccer asking. I'll probably email them all and just say, send in your dates. That, again, that's something we've struggled with. The whole process is convoluted. I know I had some conversation with John, because I know now his kid's in baseball. And it depends who the president is, who's running the group, and how responsive they are.
Mhm.
Sometimes the communication is better than others.
You should,
It would be
again,
worse.
always invite them to our meetings and
Yeah,
say, get that out there. These organizations have a lot of people. They should be able to send at least one person once a year to a meeting with us.
it would be good, I think, to sit down with, especially when there's been change. It seems like softball now is having some new people.
Mhm.
Baseball, I think, is still going to be, the guy that it's been, his name I'm forgetting now. He's with Scouts. But like we had a real issue getting the money. So that was kind of a mess. And then, that's what it was, because it was all upset about the fields getting mowed. And it's like, well, you don't even have a field use permit. So why would I mow the field? Nobody's on it. And that's where things break down. Then I don't know. And then the last thing I put on here, we already talked about it, was the beach. So it's the final paving work. We should get a quote. We should seal coat that basketball court, which we'll have to get a price on. I didn't do that yet. I researched a bunch of signage, and there's some stuff that I bought as we closed. So that will move forward. Like, I feel like, I forget when we talked about it, like putting a big banner up on the fence, stuff like that. And now Sean did all that work and cleaned up the shack. I'm going to try and figure out something for our menu board. And then we talked about a grand reopening. I assume we still want to try and do that.
We need to do it for people that have donated
At Callan.
things to it. Like Unilock.
Yeah,
We need to have.
Oh, yeah.
We need to
Yeah.
recognize these folks.
yeah.
So I think, right now, the last day of Mendon Upton is the 12th. The last day of last day of Holliston is the 14th. I think that'll probably end up getting pushed. So I would say tentatively the opening day for the rec program is probably going to have to be the 24th. It's been real helpful having that week to do orientation and get everything together. So I don't,
We can have the grand opening before that then.
yeah, I just say you don't want to do it too far open because we're not ready. There's so much cleanup, so much prep. We don't have staff till school gets out. But I'm thinking tentatively the 22nd, 23rd, like that weekend, if that's opening for the beach.
Sure. How about the 22nd?
I go away.
Or Sunday better.
Yeah, I go away that day for the week.
The week, okay. Or we would open for a week and do it.
22nd?
Yeah, we go for the 22nd. We're taking Trevor and his girlfriend and our grandson to Storyland. So we're going up north for that week.
What about the 15th?
15th should be good.
I'm hesitant to commit this far out because I feel like we could have like if Mendon has 3 snow days, we have no staff.
But you get college.
Right, but we're just not ready to open.
I'm thinking of maintenance department, just get the beach looking.
Yeah.
We don't have to.
Well, I think if we do this, I think we want to hire, I'm thinking it's the first day the beach opens, we hire a band, we sell food and do it like a party. Because that's going back to programming. That's something I would like to see if we can come up with more stuff at the beach, concerts and things. We could just do a ceremony. And that's it. If that, I was thinking more like a whole day, the grand opening of the beach, have a band, have food. I think we had talked about, perhaps, it's free admission.
Right.
Maybe the food is subsidized by somebody or,
So
I was thinking the 29th, but
then you get into the 4th of
if
July.
it's food, that's the other risk. So maybe the 15th is an option. And we get a little closer, we'll know more maybe.
And like, would you have guards or anyone at that point?
If it's swimming, we have to have guards. That's the only risk. So we'll have the college kids. If we did that,
Just one day for, I don't know, 4 hours or something, right?
so if that,
Maybe
maybe
we'll
that would
open
work
up
out.
for the rest of the week, but we can open up that one day. Do the 15th or the 16th.
Um,
15th is Father's Day, so it'd have to be the 15th.
in my
Will that
calendar.
work for you?
The 15th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we could tentatively target that, try and see if we can book somebody. Get all the dignitaries here. I invite you to lock. We should do something for Sean and
And we'll have maintenance crew.
Well, yeah.
Available at that point,
the
right?
beach would be easy. The beach is easy to clean. So
Yeah, so
something.
clean it up, make it look good, mow the lawn if we need to, that sort of
yeah,
thing.
I'm just worried if we have everything together to open and actually sell food, or if it might just, at that point be a smaller thing.
We could, I'm trying to think of the brothers. Okay, have them get some food out there or something. That's possible.
Could do that too if they wanted to,
You could offer, you can make a donation.
so.
I don't know if they would come and do it for free or not. They might.
Well,
I don't know.
wouldn't want to not pay them, so, but we could just do it ourselves too. It's just whether we've got everything cleaned up and inspected and operational.
Yeah.
Usually we're running around like
What do you think,
crazy.
like a morning thing, or how about like 11 a.m.?
I think if it's just a ceremony, 10 or 11, if we'll just do a quick, we could just do a ceremony with, 10 a.m. with coffee and donuts and order some pizza
Why don't we shoot for 11?
and just leave it at
That
that
way
for
then
now.
it's close enough to noon time where we do the ceremony. And then we could have some lunch there, maybe not.
Maybe just do that and bring in some pizza.
Get it catered, and if we're in good shape, we can have swimming. Obviously, kids can go on the swing sets. Invite the public to it.
That might be a decent, just something.
I think it should be a public event. It should be
Yeah.
a paper.
Oh, yeah.
We definitely want to recognize the folks that help. I mean, just look at Sean Clifton alone. He made money on that job, not much. He didn't work there.
Well, never mind that we kept changing it on him too.
And the fact that he was 100,000 less than the other bidder.
Yeah.
So
Did you see, he posted something about the work he did at that house? That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
really transformed that place.
Oh, yeah, really beautiful work.
I keep seeing this. Things. But,
Okay, so we're shooting 11 o'clock. June 50.
yeah, I'll put that down. Let's plan on that and see. Like I said, we definitely gotta do something. I don't know. And then other than that, I think, so,
Spring baseball's over by that point.
yeah,
I think we'll be in good shape. That'd be a good time. And we just try to get a little bit of the crew in there early.
at least there's no leaves because there's no trees.
Yeah,
A little bit cleaned up.
It looked good. Grass.
It grew in some more.
Well, just driving down there today, and I don't go by there a lot, but just seeing what's so nice compared to even off season, the way it looked.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
and whatever Sean did in the fall on the lawn, he made some major improvements. So it's a lot greener and thicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really coming nice.
Well, yeah, and we may get some fertilizer, which we don't normally do, but I think for new grass, we certainly should and
Absolutely.
touch it up.
Mhm.
Figure out what to do to chase the damn geese away.
I
Dogs.
brought my dog down there last week and let him run around, and the geese were watching him. They took off. I think if you do like bring a dog down once in a while,
There's companies that'll do it. I'll tell David to bring that parents' dog over
yeah,
there.
bring him down there frequently, and then then the geese know there's an animal there. They won't go back for a while.
Yeah, we could golden doodle and chase them all over the place.
Yeah.
The other two would just sit there and run away, but he'll.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we love that too. Danielle loves taking them out to the beach once a week.
Yeah, that's all. That's like I bring them there.
Yeah, she.
Although when I went there, there was hardly any goose shit anywhere.
Oh, that's good.
It's good now, and there's a new conservation agent that we finally hired. Oh, so here's another update for you. She's really good. She has a bunch of experience with lake testing. So I think we're finally gonna move some things forward with this lake project and
Good.
all that. We're
That's good.
researching. We're finalizing a plan for a testing program. We're hopefully gonna buy a machine to go around and take samples. There's some grant program that has to do with dredging. So I think she said, I'm gonna try and go too. There's like an informational session, try and find out more about it. So I think, again, things are moving. Her name is Isabella Genova. She's from Upton. Or she grew up in Mendon.
I know that.
Yeah. She went to Nipmuc. She's young. She's like 20 something, just out of college.
Yeah, good for her.
But so I think that's good.
How many hours a week?
So as the conservation agent, I think it's just 10 hours.
Yeah.
And they're hopefully looking to make some changes. She has a ton of GIS experience. And she's interested in teaching classes and stuff. I'll have to ask her if she has any interest in doing anything through parks, but adult education and but hopefully, because that's the other thing that's killing us. I mean, I know we made all those improvements in the outfall, which should help. Maybe there's less trees and less leaves over there, but we can't keep getting shut down for E. coli every 3 days. That's
Right.
killing us.
I wish there was a way to also to divert that water off to the right.
Well, that was my thought, to keep piling rocks there to kind of do a little bit of a jetty or something to separate it so it can diffuse a little better.
That'd be a great idea.
Just again, every couple
Do
of
you
years.
have rocks, the big enough rocks to put there?
Yeah, or just get a load of material, and as long as it's clean, bigger rocks and riprap or something.
I'm thinking
Dump it.
I'm thinking boulders, like
Oh yeah, that I don't know.
12
If
inches or
we
bigger,
could have somebody bring them in there.
and then make almost a jetty
Yeah.
that goes out, and so all that shit can stay to the right, and keep all that stuff away from our.
You can actually
I can't move.
pricing us.
On
that cost?
my driveway.
What's that?
That's some good sized rocks like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I can't physically
Hey.
move them. They're too heavy.
I got a ton of.
And I
But that's what we wanted for the parking lot
Like
too.
3 of them in the
Big rocks.
kind of behind the stone wall.
Anyway, I think that's everything for now. We should probably try and meet again if I can finalize all the programming stuff. And it's kind of crazy. Everybody's going to start wanting all that. I mean, I'd like to see if we can get a new system
And
in
if things
place.
shift here, just keep us posted. All of a sudden they hire someone and they want to do this, then
Yeah, I
look at different models. And
breath, but
let us know.
I'm of the opinion that we should at least propose all the stuff and let them reject it. But I think we can't we shouldn't back off of it because they'll just forget about it.
Yeah.
You know, if they want to make a deliberate decision to delay things, to not, that's fine. That's their prerogative, but it should be their decision to say, we don't want to do this yet. So,
All right, Sam.
anyway, all right.
Thank
Hopefully.
And a motion to adjourn.
Long.
Open.
Right. See you, Dan.